Hello there and welcome back. My name is Elena.
And I am Photios. And this is the Game Court.
And today it's time for the quarterly look back.
3 months have passed and we're looking back in the last 3 months what new games we played, new to us games we played. So we're not discussing with you all the games we played because we played so many games.
Can you imagine?
Yes, exactly. But only the new to us games we played. I think we have about 25 of them or so today.
How many did we have last time?
I think it was a bit more last time, I'm not sure. But yeah, this time around we played about 25 new games.
Yeah.
In the last 3 months, right?
I think in the last 3 months, I have particularly been a bit busy with work. So we didn't have a chance to play as many games. Overall, I think we played less games because of that. But now it's all coming to an end. So we'll be able to catch up a bit more and tell you all about them in the next quarter.
Yeah, I mean, during the period of more busy work, we tend to play games that we already know because, you know, it's more cozy, if you wish, not to learn a new game. So we have about 12 games now in our self of shame or self of opportunity, whatever you prefer to call it, you know, regarding how you see the glass, half full or half empty, who knows?
First on our list is Five Towers. And we played Five Towers with our friends Patricia and Evangelos. And we played it in a pub. Was it in a pub we played it first?
Yeah.
Well, we was playing it. Where was in a pub? For whatever reason. Anyhow, we played it in a pub because we had a pub table and it was enough space to play there. And I wasn't 100% sure, like, you know, card games are not necessarily my thing. But this is such an amazing game. And then he gifted us the game.
Yes, because Patricia didn't like very much. Evangelos said, why don't you take the game? So, double win. We like the game.
We like the game, and now we have a free game. And then we played it so many times, and we played it at 2, and we played it at 3 and 4. And
it plays up to 5, right?
Yeah. I don't think we played. Did we play it 5?
No.
No, we didn't play it up to 5. But the idea is this is one of those card games that works very, very well in 2, which is very, very hard to find. And it is very satisfying, and it's quite take-thatty, an amazing game.
Yeah, the game has basically auction and set collection, but it's very nicely, very simply implemented. I really like the game too. The next game in our list is called Small Samurai Empires and it's part of the Small Empires collection of Arcona games. This game is coming from Poland and it features small, very wooden, very nice small samurais. So there are 4 different clans in the game and the expansion you can play up to 5 players, I think. And basically you try to take control of Japan. So the game is a bit of programming, action programming,
hidden action,
exactly, and a bit of area majority. And you try to have the most points, as always, at the end of the game by also putting out influence in different regions.
Not the heaviest game, I must say, but I think whatever it does very well. And it's very pleasant to play with people that they're not particularly in the game, and it does work very, very well from this perspective.
And it's very pleasant to the eye, art-wise. And it comes in a very small game, very small box game.
And the little samurais, or like every clan has
right?
a different signal. It's called something else, a crest?
A crest, yes.
A crest. And they all come with different, like all your samurais look the same in a clan, but they're all very different from clan to clan, and it's very pleasant to the eye. I mean, it's a nice touch. And then we played Fields of Arle. It's a game designed by Uwe Rosenberg, and we have tried to find this game for, I don't know, 100 million gazillion years.
Yeah, it was out of print, right?
Yeah, and I think you managed to do a trade of some sort. What did we trade for it?
Oh, we gave away Sankoré, which we didn't really enjoy.
Oh, the new
very much,
Sankoré,
yes.
yeah.
And we took this without any money exchange. I think it was a fair trade, to be honest with you.
This is a very big box, 2-player only game where you try to develop your farm, make goods, deliver goods. Technically, is life in Arle. I think this is.
Yes.
I think what Uwe was trying to do is re-implement the life he had or his parents had at his farm, at the farm he grew up in. I think that's the story behind it, and that's what he's trying to actually do, bring that memory into a game, which I think he does very, very well.
One key aspect of the game is that you have 2 sets of actions, one let's say for summer and one for winter, and you can only place your worker in the summer set of actions during the summer and in the winter set of actions during the winter. And we really want to try this game because we really like Caverna, but we don't like it at all at all. So we're hoping that Fields of Arle is a better game at 2. Now, we have only played the game once, and we really like to go back to the game to explore a bit more because there are many things to see there. So yeah, that's Fields of Arle.
Fields of Arle.
The next game we played is called Unreliable Wizard, and this was a Kickstarter, a game found Kickstarter from Salt and Pepper. It's a solo-only game, so Elena will just nod her head now while I talk. And the game came, I played 2-3 times. I found it a bit, monotonous, a bit boring. Nothing really exciting is happening in the game. I don't know. It didn't really enthuse me. I find it quite easy for what it is, and believe me, I'm not the best solo player, right? So yeah, not the strongest of the games in my opinion, so it quickly left our collection.
The next game on our list is called Mini Express, and this game is apparently a cube rail game because I am a novice and I need to be told how it's called because I have no idea, but yet it's a very enjoyable game. This is a game where you technically put cubes instead of tracks, but you don't have, this game has little trains actually, little locomotives. Is that an upgrade by any chance?
Yeah, it is. Well, it was.
It's not a cube, so therefore it's an upgrade.
Goal. It was a Kickstarter stretch goal, and we also have the version that they are silk printed.
Both sides.
Yeah, the retail
Both
version.
sides.
The retail version are not silk printed. Yes, so yeah, there you are.
So we're swimming in money.
Exactly.
Technically, you build your. You can talk because it's a more than one player game. Here you can interact.
I see.
Oh my goodness. So you put your cubes instead of rails to connect to other cities. You gain resources, and with all of that, you buy shares.
It's a very enjoyable game of, again, two mechanics, laying track and buying shares. The richer player wins the game. Simple, quick, and also plays quite well at two as well, which is unusual for this type of games.
Very nice, yep.
And then we played quite beautiful game, I would say, quite beautiful production. It's called Bouquets, and it's a combination of, let's say, dominoes and Rummikub. And I mean, I think I like it more than Elena. Elena didn't like it at all, I would like to say.
Let's just, can you maybe talk about how the game plays rather than how much I dislike it?
You try to make basically sets of flowers, or either the same color, the same shape, or let's say a sequence of colors or shapes, whatever you try to create. And also you can move flowers around. It comes in a very beautiful bag that all it comes with.
That is very pretty,
yes,
isn't
with
it?
some 4 trays like the Scrabble.
Like the rummy.
Yeah, the
Like
Scrabble.
the rummy, yeah. I mean,
You put your tiles, your wooden tiles there, which are printed. Very beautiful production, but I mean, we played the game, and directly after we played the game, we said, okay, let's play quickly now. Right, remember?
I know.
Yeah.
I think this game for me, it was a bit, I think the game overall is beautiful, and I see what the designer has tried to do, but I just feel that this game, for a tiling game, because it's a tiling game, right? It's a bit too it has too many little rules. Like you cannot put this next to the other, and this one has to only be when the sun shines. It's just so complicated. Like way too many little rules that I couldn't remember them all, and might as well just play something that is not as complicated, because there are so many little blockers and so many little rules next to other rules. I just couldn't get my head around it, and I just couldn't play it anymore though, really. So I don't even think we managed to finish the whole game because I couldn't get.
We still have it. Go and give it a try if you want.
We'll play Quirkle. And I'm not entirely sure how we managed to get this game to play this game. This is District Noir. We played it, and it was Evangelos' game again. I don't know how we managed to. Anyhow, we got the game from him.
We got 1 or 2 from Evangelos' collection. Yes.
We were just trying everybody
else.
else's collections. You
Yes.
know, my collection is yours is mine, and that's that. We played it, and we played it in one go 3 times.
And all 3 times, Elena won by far. The first 2 times she won by points, whereas the last time she won by domination, by having these 3
Domination.
city cards. Yeah, domination. And what you do in the game, you try to collect some set of cards with most points, and you either place card or you take cards. And if you do cards, that's it. You cannot take cards again for the round. And some cards are negative points, some cards are positive points, some cards are city cards, and if you collect all of them, you win immediately. Yeah, I mean,
I think we kind of seen all that it was that this game offered for us, at least in those 3 games that we played consecutively.
let me stop you there. I played 5 times. Before we played 3 times, I've also played 2 times with Mark. Because Mark has this game as well. One of our contributors in the channel, Mark. And
Everybody knows
yes,
Mark.
everybody.
Mark is
Everybody
somewhere.
knows Evangelos as well.
Oh, hold on a minute. There is Mark and there's Evangelos.
Yes. So I played 2 times with Mark. I lost both times. And then I played 3 times with Elena.
Did you tell me that?
No, I'm telling you now.
Oh, the shame. Oh well.
So that's District Noir. And then we played what we played next. What is that? Oh yeah, this is a very nice game. So we played Grand Trunk Journey from Claude Serrois. It's a very, very nice game published by Spielworks. Very hard to find, so apologies for that. We actually gave
apologies for that. We're enjoying the good game.
It's an amazing game. It was our game of the month a couple of months ago. It's a super duper game of pick up and delivery. It plays amazingly at 2, surprisingly. It has different elements, different resources. It has iron, coal, wood, and whatever the other one is, steel, whatever it is. And you go around the US and you pick up and deliver and you develop your train. And the way you develop your train, it reminds me of the small card game called Isle of Trains, where you have your engine, which you can upgrade, and you have your cars that you can put the cargo in. It's a very beautiful game, very beautiful. A bit of deck building as well.
You can do some special deliveries as well, so you have
special
to time
deliveries,
them very
yes, that's
well.
Elena's specialty. Yes.
That is my specialty, yes.
A bit of deck building and a bit of asymmetric deck building, because if you open a city, you'll get a card, but I'll get a different card for the same city. Super duper game, very quirky, very nice, really recommend it.
And then it was around our birthdays, or just after that. Our birthdays are 1 day apart, and we met with Reese, and he gifted us this game, and it's called Healthy Heart Hospital. This is, I think it's because it's a funny thing and it's a funny game, and I work in healthcare, so I think this is where the link was, if anything. We never watch anything with, like 24 hours in A&E or anything medical of any kind, because it always upsets me. It's always exaggerated, so we never did that. We never do this. So anyhow, we played this game. This is a cooperative game, and it plays 1 to 4.
I think it's...
It plays 1 to 5, not 1 to 4. And technically what you're trying to do is get people from the waiting area that keep on coming in, and you put them from the reception into the waiting area, and from there you move them into rooms to treat them. You have some special rooms where you can treat them, and that gives you more money. Technically, as you're trying to get a lot of money without killing people. You have a cemetery in the game as well. And I think
next to the hospital.
I know. You have some special doctors that give you special abilities. For example, one gives you like an extra space in
the cemetery.
In the cemetery. Other people like treat extra people, like for example trauma people. They will treat them more effectively and stuff like that. You have administrators that work for you, and they do some extractions, and the administrator moves every round to the next player. I think overall though it's a very funny game. I think it has a very funny game, yes. A very funny feeling about it. Like they have like weird names and stuff like that, and they all do weird stuff. So I think the theme overall is quite funny.
There are 5 or 6 presentations. I think 5 presentations in the game of different conditions that the patients will come into, and if you don't move them from the waiting area to the rooms, they're going to deteriorate. Equally, if you keep them in the ward and you don't treat them, they are still going to deteriorate. It's a very nice game. Basically, you try to have the most money at the end of the game, like not going bankrupt.
I know treating people gives you a lot of money, which is odd, but killing people, makes you lose a lot of money as well. So you cannot kill too many people, because then you go bankrupt.
Exactly. And then another Kickstarter came in. It was the Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs. This time, this one here, another solo game. And I really like Gloomhaven. I am in the middle of playing the big Gloomhaven campaign. We have finished with Elena the Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion campaign. And then I got this very small game of the solo Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs. And it's a very, very nice implementation of the big brother of this. It was originally implemented as an 18-card game by, what's his name? John Kiffel, exactly. And then Cellophane Games picked it up, and they also put in the team Nikki Valence to join John, and together they put this box together. It has about 20 different monsters and 6 different characters. You go through basically a linear scenario of many campaigns. So it's a very nice small game, quite challenging, with a little trick in the cards. Again, a bit of different, how the cards are used, a bit different than the big Gloomhaven brother. But this is a game that I really recommend if you like this Gloomhaven and you want to play a solo game in 30 minutes time. This will give you a lot of pleasure.
And then we received a review copy of a game from Japan.
From the far
Japan,
yes.
We received a review copy, a game from Japan. It was sent to us by the designer. The game is called Sky Towers.
Okay.
And in Sky Towers, we have, I don't know whether you've noticed, but there is a game that we played at the beginning called 5 Towers, and then we have this game is called Sky Towers. And Photis is laughing at me that I'm confusing these games because they both have towers, and the first word is very similar. We did do a
versus video.
Thank you, a versus video in between these two games and their similarities, and I think they sound very similar, they look very similar, but they're not very similar. I think they have quite a lot of differences. Technically, you do build a lot of towers, not 5 in this game, but as many as you want to. The idea is that, you have blockages from your opponents from left and right, restrictions where you can build or cannot build some stuff, and every single card has a different rule and they do different things. For example, 10 can only be the card at the bottom. You cannot put 10 anywhere else. And you can only use a 1 to finish a tower with. Stuff like that. Like every card has a different kind of action, which I think it's quite cool. And then you have some set end game scoring cards and stuff like that you can steal from each other. If I do it at one point and then Photius does it after, then he will steal that from me and get the point.
Yeah, and you complete a tower when you have 21 points in the tower, a sum of 21 exactly. And it's a very nice game, also plays well at 2, which is kind of surprising, because most of the card games don't play well at 2, play well at higher play counts.
You can have a quick look at our video if you would like to,
yes.
And then you will have more of an opinion over there.
Yeah. The next game in our list is a small box game for 2 players only. It's actually a war game, and it's called The Cousins War, which is basically the Roses War here in the UK about 500 years ago, 550 years ago.
500 million
yes,
gazillion.
Which is basically the war of the Lancaster House versus the York House, the Red Rose versus the White Rose. And we got the game. The game is basically area majority and a bit of liar's dice mechanic when it comes to the battle resolution. And I really like the game. I really like how it's implemented. But Elena's dice roll was awful in all games. So I think we played 3 games so far. I won all games easily. I think Elena didn't finish one of the games because
I gave it a fair try though. It was like, the liar's dice are not for me. I'm not one to bluff. I cannot bluff to save my life, and I don't understand how bluffing works, and it just doesn't work for me at all. So it just didn't work because my dice were very poor and I didn't know how to try to make it sound better. So I would always lose because Photis would catch me on it, or he would roll perfect dice and stuff like that. So that's that.
Yeah, I mean, the game has also some event cards that you can use them to get some powerful actions, but you have to be careful when you play these cards out because there might be a reaction that your opponent can take based on the event card you played. Or you can play the cards for the action points as well, if you want to, for the standard action.
But all in all, though, I think area majority is very important in this game, but not as important as the war at the end, because that dictates quite a lot. So I think that this liar's dice element is quite pronounced. So if you're not very good at this, I'm sure there are plenty of other area majority games that you could play.
It's like you said, if you're not good in dice rolling.
Hey, I'm very good at that. I don't know how this guy suck at this game. It's awful.
I see.
And then we played Chimera Station. I think it might be pronounced Chimera Station, but I'm not sure.
It was from Vangelos as well?
You guessed it. It's Evangelos' game. I don't know how it happened that we borrowed so many of his games, but they have it. And I think our interest was in the worker placement aspect of the game. But all in all, though, I think this is a very funny game where you create monsters they come in like simple monsters, and then you can cut them and add extra pieces with different tentacles.
You can splice them.
They have four colors. You have many different colors in the game, and every color gives you a different kind of perk, and they do different kind of things. And if you get them upgraded, put them in different positions, it gives you extra benefits and whatnot. You can slice them again and move that, remove a piece, put another piece, and discard pieces that will give you some extra points. And there's a madness in there of stuff. Technically, as you get these tiles, which are like hexagons, and you put them on the station to populate the station with these action tiles, which are rooms kind of thing. And then from there you can go into the rooms and activate all of those. So it's a worker placement game, and it has many different actions. But I think the idea of these like little monsters with the tentacles, it's quite interesting. It's quite funny.
It's a very satisfying game. How the game board evolves during the game, how you upgrade your workers and you accumulate workers, you do research. And it's very rewarding points-wise, so you get a lot of points in a single turn, maybe 20, 25 points. It's a very, very nice game. I would pick it up anytime. And next, it was another Kickstarter delivery day.
I thought you were going to say Evangelos' game.
No, that wasn't the Evangelos' game. And the game is Inventions, Evolution of Ideas, which is the latest Vitalas Herda game and Eagle Griffon Games. And of course, art by Ian O'Toole, beautiful art by Ian O'Toole, I have to say. So it's one of the classic Vitalas Herda big box games with everything deluxified, like the thick cardboard, the dual layer board, and all of this stuff. Now, this game is quite complex. Maybe it's even more complex than On Mars, I would say. It's about developing ideas and inventing stuff and sharing these ideas, advancing your civilization basically, and all of this cool stuff. And the game has a lot of chaining action. So if you do this, then you can do that. If the conditions are met, of course. And this is for me where the fun ends. Not because we don't like combinations. We love combinations, but because once you manage to align all the moons in the world to take this chaining action, it's barely ever that you have the resources or the workers, the specialty workers, to actually perform these actions. So for me, it was very hard to put these things together. We played a couple of games of this, and we decided that this game is not for us. As we grew in the hobby, we were always going for more complex games and more complex games because, that's one of the attractiveness, I would say. But I think it's not always the case that the correlation is linear, like, enjoyment and complexity, the relationship of these two elements is not always linear. Sometimes less is more.
I just have to quickly back you up there. I think the game is a bit like, it gave me a bit of vibes of Septima. When I say that, I mean you fight so hard to get to where you need to get to finally do something, and the game doesn't really offer anything back. And it's this idea of, I feel that there are too many abstract things in the game that for me just don't make any sense. So after 2 plays, if I've even, I don't think I finished one of them. I'm sure I've not finished one of them. But it was enough to know that I don't enjoy this game at all.
And I'm sure if you play the game more than 2 times like us, you're going to put things together. And, but for us, the attractiveness was not there. So we much rather invest our time learning another game and, let's say, perfecting, if you wish, another game than this particular game. Still, I'm personally intrigued by Lacerda's designs, but this particular one was not for us, as was, for instance, Lisboa in the past.
And then we played Small Star Empires, which is part of the one of the small collections.
The Small Empires.
Help me out. Help
the Small
me, girl.
Empire series, yes.
Small Empire series, and we have Small Samurai Empire in there as well that we played earlier. We've mentioned it in this game, in this video. What is wrong with me? My voice is going. That sounds a bit better. And technically what you do in this game is technically an abstract game. It's not really a star empire that you have, but you do have a little galactic ship that you go around the universe with. You can only move in a linear motion, so in a straight line, as long as you don't bump into one of your opponents. And you can build in most of the spaces whatever building you want from your collection, and you have different kind of buildings and they all do different things.
And as you build something on a planetary system, you get points based on how many satellites that system has. And there are several expansions in the game that change the game. You have asymmetric abilities that will activate your powers. You can build super weapons. It's quite a nice game. I mean, for a very small box game, if you just play the base game, it's very quick. It's maybe 15-20 minutes max, like a small abstract game. But if you throw all the expansions and modules in, it becomes a bit complex, I would say. It becomes quite thinky. And you collect also some gems to get some cards. It's a nice little game, I would say.
I really liked it.
And the next game we played is a two-player only card game called Heist, which was another Kickstarter delivery. And that was a creation from a UK designer. And we played the game a couple of times. It has some asymmetric powers. One is the law and one is the outlaw. And we have some cards with ranks. So I play a card. No, we both select a card secretly. And then basically we reveal the cards. And whoever has the highest rank or the better ability, because you can basically remove the card of your opponent, put them to jail or whatever you put them, you win the heist. And whoever has the most money at the end of the game wins. So the whole gameplay is we both draw a card randomly and we reveal, and whoever has the best card wins. Not as engaging as I was hoping this to be. I mean, I was expecting a nice two-player card game, a bit more.
Head-to-head,
exactly. It was a bit more, let's say, simple for my taste.
And as we were in UKGE earlier this year, we picked up a few games, and one of them is Next Station London.
Mm-hmm.
I think we chose London because we've not tried any of these games before, and apparently London has the bestest reviews.
The London is the first one, the original one.
Well, we tried the original one.
And we live in the UK. So why would we go for Tokyo or Paris?
Japan,
yes.
Anyhow, Next Station is a roll and write game.
No, it's actually
it's just a flip and write,
yes.
isn't it? One of the X and writes, I
exactly,
think.
Yeah.
Numerous things and write game, where you try to build metro stations. The game, I think the game is very different because it comes with 4 different pencil colors. They're colored 4 different colors. And that represents the numbers of rounds that the game has. And as a player, you start with one color, let's say pink, and then you play the whole round with it. And then you pass the color clockwise to your opponent, and then you pick up the next one. So it plays well in you can play it solo if you want to. You can play it in 2-3. It plays very well in, I think, because it's all independent. So it doesn't matter. Crayons move
exactly.
Anyhow, and you just try to connect station to station, more important stations where you have all the better points, and you try to cross a river and stuff like that. So it's technically just like building tracks.
It's very nice. It's quite thinky for what it is. For what it is quite
really
thinky.
like it.
And you try to develop your network basically. It's network building, which we really really enjoy as a theme. And of course, we like our action rights anyway. So that was a very positive surprise.
It was an easy win, wasn't it?
Next Station London was one of the games that Elena had in her shopping list for UKGE. One of the games I had in my shopping list was Botanik, which is an older game, not very old, like 3 years old. It's a 2-player only game in the Space Cowboys 2-player collection, like, same box as Jaipur or Splendid Duel. And Botanik is a pretty cool game of tiling. Usually tiling for us is either hit or miss.
Yeah.
For this particular one, for me, is quite a hit. Not so much about the tiling. Tiling is fine, and you try to connect different pipes with the flowers to get some points. But the cool aspect of the game is the drafting system, how drafting works, because you can't just take a piece, you have to push it out of the drafting system. And I really enjoy that. You can make the game work for you and not work for your opponent. It's a very cool game, very nice components, comes with a very useful insert in the box, and amazing card.
Yeah, can I just add to that? It's one of the most beautiful games I have seen in a long, long time. Apart from production, the details and stuff, the board, if you do close it, because it's a little board in the middle, when you close it, it creates a little book.
Notebook,
yes.
Yeah,
Notebook
yeah.
is also ever so beautiful, and it works very, very well. And another game that we picked up from UKGE was Paris, La Cité de la Lumière, which I think means the City of Light.
So Paris, blah, 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 blah.
That's a good one.
That's from French.
So, technically, I think Paris was the first city that had electric lights onto their street lights. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to illuminate the streets using this electrical light. And that's what you're trying to illuminate buildings within the thing. It's a very, very beautiful game. And the reason why I chose it is because it's so beautiful. It was, again, one of the best games I have seen. Production-wise, as in I don't know how this game is so incredibly beautiful. It opens up, the box opens up, and you play within the box itself. And you have little components like the little buildings that look like polyomino tiles. You have little lights that you could add across.
Cobblestones, yes.
You have little extra actions that you could take. Each player has 4 little tokens that you could use. And the actions are made out of postcards which have beautiful art
the art's
everywhere.
Amazing, yes.
The art in this game is absolutely fantastic, and I think that's what drew me to this game. But I think it all stops there, I'm afraid. We played it a few times, and we've played it with different components, different actions. We've added whatever we could add to this game.
I think we really wanted to like this game.
We really, because it's so beautiful, and I said, you know what, it's so beautiful, I'm just going to keep some of the components back because it's so beautiful.
Yes.
And do something with them.
Yeah.
But I decided to just give it to somebody else, and then they can play it, because I can see the potential of the game, but it just didn't work for us.
Sticking with UKG, another game we picked up, and that was actually the first game that we ran in the shop, in the booth, to pick from Board and Dice, is called Windmill Valley, the new game by Danny Garcia, and it's a very hot game nowadays. We have already published a playthrough and review for this game, which you can find somewhere here. And Windmill Valley is about, you're in Amsterdam, and it's about getting bulbs. And
is it Amsterdam?
Netherlands. I think Netherlands. It's about basically creating fields of tulips and putting out your windmills. And you have a very nice 2-cog system of your windmill, where you basically take and select your actions. It's a very cool game, fantastically mechanically sound, plays very smoothly. I think it's my favorite of the Danny Garcia games so far. Yeah, that's Windmill Valley.
The last game onto my shopping list was Arborea, and we could have bought it from anywhere because it's not a new game. Arborea is designed by Danny Garcia again. I think Danny Garcia has been quite popular on our shelves these days. But we decided to buy it from the convention because Alicat was there, and we bought it from there. And this game is a very Euro-y sound, positive interaction kind of game, where you try to attract creatures into your ecosystem that you build. And I think this game works so well, and it has so many little surprises here and there, and it has so much positive interaction in it. It's such a pleasant game to watch to begin with. It's so colorful and so beautiful, and I really strongly recommend, if you could give it a try, please do, because it's lovely.
The only thing
I
would like to add
please.
Here, one thing I would like to add is the time element of Arborea. That reminds of Jorkin, but for me it's done so much better that the more you leave your workers on the board, the more they will, let's say, age and do better and more rewarding actions.
That too.
Next, we received a review copy of Manhattan Project The War Machine, and this is a worker placement game with dice, and it has a follow mechanic, so you place your dice, you do your main action, and then your opponents can do a secondary lesser action. It's about basically creating your engine, where you have some buildings that you can activate in the second phase of your turn, and also develop, upgrade your player board with more dice, with more room for resources, also more room for buildings. The game is generally resource conversion and resource management. I think we quite enjoy the game, and we'll have a dedicated review here, or if there's no space for link here, you can find the link down in the comments.
And then it was time to travel because we've been working quite hard this period. And we decided to take on the plane exit, and it was the Mysterious Museum. And we didn't necessarily choose this one, but somebody had it beforehand, and they said, oh, we're just going to some friends had it, and they've put everything back together, and we gave it a chance, a try. And I think, you know, there are a lot of people that say that Exit is not a good game, and, you know, you destroyed this and the other and whatnot, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it was such a good activity for a couple of hours whilst the game, because, you know, you have to finish the whole thing. And it really worked for me. It's an escape room kind of game, and more like, you know, puzzly, and you need to, you know, get all the information, just like an escape room technically, if anything. But it really worked for us, and it was very enjoyable.
And then we played a dexterity game. So from deduction games to dexterity games. Usually these are not the games that we usually play, but, you know, every now and then we like a bit of change.
It's always good to try new things, isn't
Exactly.
it?
And this dexterity game is called, how it's called? Tinderblox. And it's about creating a campfire. It's published by Alicat Games. It comes with a very small tin box, which basically what you have in there, you have some wooden components, some cards, and tweezers. So you create the components that the card says, you take them with tweezers, and you place them on the fire, hoping that you're not going to collapse everything. And some of the cards instruct you to use your non-dominant hand, which makes things even worse. It's a small little game, fun game. If you like things like Jenga or stuff like that, really recommend it. It doesn't take a lot of shelf space.
Well, no, because
anyway.
the pieces are quite little.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long to play because everything is very small, and you lose very fast.
Or you have photos, so.
I think you won though.
Did I?
I think so.
Okay.
And then we played Photosynthesis with some of our friends. And this is the first time I play Photosynthesis, and it's the second time for
me,
you.
yes.
And I think Photosynthesis game has been around for quite a while.
It's 2017 game, yes.
It's a very nice game where you try to plant trees from seeds. Obviously, the game gives you a bit of a head start with some trees on the map, but from these trees you can spruce some more seeds across, and around it you can grow some trees. You have a kind of bank of trees. I don't know what it's called.
Store of trees.
Like a nursery of trees.
Exactly.
But you have like little trees and big trees, and you can exchange one for the other. You can only grow them. You cannot just build a big one. The super cool aspect about this game, which I really liked, is the sun element. So you have a board around the main board, which is more like a hexagon kind of thing.
A big hex, yes.
It's a big hexagon, and it moves across to all sides every round. So the way it moves, the way the sun hits your trees, those will be the ones that will give you the points. And the game only works with sun points. So the points that you have taken from the sun hitting your trees, these are the points you're going to use in the next round. And there are a few things that you could do in the game to either plant a seed, or you can interact with only one tree at the same time. So there are not very many things you can do. You can grow your tree and stuff like that. But I think the best thing about it is the sun element, if anything.
For me, Photosynthesis is the most thematic, abstract game I have ever played.
That's a good way of putting it.
The next game we played is a print and play game. It's called The Cubes of Europe, and originally that was a solo game, a 9-card game, but later on the designer made an expansion to make multiplayer. So now the game is, I think, 17 cards, still not a lot, less than 2 pages you have to print off if you want to play this game, and it's a shrink version of Castles of Burgundy, and it's done so well that you have a duchy, and all duchies are different from each other. And you have a market that you buy some cubes, and then you place these cubes on your board, and each cube, as you place them, they do a different thing, or you get more rewards or more points. Again, it's a very, very small version of Castle of Burgundy. Compared to, let's say, Castle of Burgundy, the dice game, it has a different feeling. For me, it's closer to the original Castle of Burgundy, but in place in, let's say, 15 minutes max, 20 minutes max.
I agree, yeah.
It's very good, very satisfying.
I think it's a very... Because I think the dice game, Castle of Burgundy, the dice game doesn't do as well as of a job, I think, because you don't really like, apart from putting numbers, you just cross stuff and that's about it. And this one is literally the same thing but smaller. It's almost the same thing but just this very small version on a very small card. And then we played Oh My Goods by Alexander Pfister. And why did you choose this game? It was not my choice, obviously.
I chose this game as I am personally in the search of good two-player games that are deep in gameplay. That is my search, my internal search in the board game industry, and I think that would be a good fit for.
So we got Oh My Goods, the big box, which includes all the expansions and all the whatnot and all the little bits and bobs. We played it, and it's, apart from the name that is, I don't know why anybody would name a game this way.
What's wrong with the name?
I don't know. Why? It's such an annoying name. I don't like it at all.
If you dislike the name, you can just put a sticker on the box and say name just good.
Anyhow, the game is made out of cards. You have a market that opens. You allocate your worker to produce for you within your tableau, and then the market opens again. And then the market is open for everybody, so the market is common, and the goods, you don't have to pay for it, and you have some cards in your hands. And technically, you exchange resources for production, and then your production can upgrade to another production if you obviously have the buildings. So you build a bit of buildings and you have a lot of resources exchange.
It's a very smart game if you can make the combinations work for you. But yet again, the game design allows you to go through the deck of cards again and again and again, because you can refresh your cards basically every turn if you wish to do so, until you find the card that you really want. I think it's a very smart design. I think there is a lot of there for the gameplay. One of the expansions has a campaign mode, which we think we're going to start soon. And the last game we played was another Kickstarter delivery, and this one right here, if you can see it, is Ezra and Nehemiah. It's a game by Garfield Games. It's part of the Ancient trilogy, the same trilogy, not trilogy, series. The same that has the Raiders of Scythia and Hadrian's Wall. And this game plays from 1 to 4 players, and is basically what you try to do in this game. You are trying to collect banners to do the most, the strongest actions possible. So you have 3 types of banners, which are grey, blue, and red. And with red banners, you can go to the temple or put fire in the altar.
Technically, rebuild the city.
Yeah, correct. Build the city, yes. Then, thematically. Then with the blue banners, you can build the walls and the gates around the city. And with the that's actually the grey banners. Yes. And the blue banners, you can go do some scribing or go around the map to collect some resources. It's a very smart game. I really like it. It has you have 2 decks of cards, one for your character that you put out, which give you banners, but also you can trade. One for your wall cards that you can put out on the board and take more resources and stuff. It's a very smart game, has a lot of elements to consider, which cards you put out for the banners, which cards you tack at the end of the round for the scoring, which will become unavailable to you, which scribes you go to, we're going to give you permanent abilities or end of game scoring. A lot of things to consider. I think it's a very hefty game. It borrows some elements from games of the same designers, like Paladins, like Viscounts. I think I find it a very good design.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it has this like cool element where instead of most of the games will have like 3 cards and you kind of slide one off to retire them, everything slides over and then you open another card. Here you have to open 3 cards and then you have to place on top of those cards up to 2. So every card will get another card on top. So you will put another worker on top, which will cover the one underneath. So you have to think of how you actually want to do it, which flags you want to stay above.
And you have your workers, which you use for many different things. You can use them as Levites, or you can use them as scribers, or as builders, or as elders.
They just do whatever
traders,
you want. They're
exactly.
absolutely, they go for whatever you want.
But remember, you have to feed them at the end of the game. I think maybe an advisor of Cement Sam in this game was Uwe Rosberg.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, when we started the game and I saw the 10 points, I'm like, We have to feed everybody now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you know you're going to lose some points, right?
But overall, a very strong game.
Alrighty then, that was our very, very, very long list of our quarterly look back.
Let us know which games you played the last few months.
And let us know if you played anything from our list, or whether you enjoy something particularly, or whether you dislike something particularly.
Thank you so much for watching.
See you later.
Bye.